everybody, and welcome to a live Tucker Carlson tonight. I'm
Thought it was Tucker.
I will be filling in for Tucker this evening.
Oh.
Top story. Coronavirus cases are hitting new highs in several Sun Belt states. Dr. Mark Siegel will be here in just about a minute.
I like
to what this all means, and whether we should prepare for renewed lockdowns. Hold your breath. But first, if leaders try to call for new lockdowns, they have a really hard time getting people to follow them because they've completely revealed their total and their own hypocrisy. Now, yesterday, for example, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser begged the public to spend July 4th inside and away from others.
Large gatherings are still a high-risk activity. So if you're outdoors, that's still a high-risk activity. So we want to urge people to properly social distance and
because you're scared of the anarchists.
Public transportation.
Okay, but Bowser had the complete opposite message just a few weeks ago when she personally participated in a massive Black Lives Matter protest that may have spread the virus.
What a dummy.
The mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, and where was she today? She was out on the streets of her city. You see her in the green shirt marching.
Look a dummy. They're not even wearing their mask right.
Now officially designated as Black Lives Matter Plaza. That's only
around her, they're wearing masks.
How could that? That's the perfect social distance. I believe we were told to have.
No social distance, of course.
Top Democratic lawmakers have consistently treated the lockdowns as rules for other people to follow.
But this lunatic.
Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot explained her special right to get a haircut.
Light in the head.
I'm the public face of the city. I'm on national media, and I'm out in the public eye. And
so is Tucker Carlson.
I'm a person who I take my
You didn't get a haircut. I don't care what you think.
I felt like I needed to.
That's the best you could do.
I'm not able to do that myself, and so I got.
You still look like you got hit with a ugly stick.
Every step of the way, coronavirus health has taken a backseat to politics. CNN spent months condemning Americans who wanted to see friends or hold worship services, but then was ecstatic over mass protests a month ago.
Exactly.
America's major cities are filled with people demanding this country become more fair.
Look at this fool.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite.
Oh, you idiot.
I can show you that
it's in the Constitution. Peaceable assembly. Idiot.
To any major milestones. They're here to yell, criticize, blame,
Fredo.
So do not get it twisted and think that, oh, this is something
disappointed me.
That happened before, and then this is so terrible, and where are we, and these savages and all of that. This is how this country was started.
Exactly. We were started by wrecking Rodeo Drive. Everybody knows that. On this show in April, Tucker confronted New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy on his state's draconian anti-religion rules. Remember?
Large gatherings are banned, but liquor stores are deemed an essential service. You have closed church services and synagogue services and arrested people for attempting to attend them. Did anyone say that maybe practicing your faith might be important to someone's mental health?
Listen, I think we've had a very good good common ground with faith leaders of literally every faith who understand this.
Yes, everyone understood we can drink instead of going to church. Fortunately, the tide is finally turning. Today, federal judge Gary Shaw issued an injunction in favor of 2 Catholic priests, 3 Orthodox Jews in Brooklyn, holding that New York State's lockdown policies illegally discriminated against worshipers.
Exactly.
Governor Andrew Cuomo and Mayor Bill de Blasio openly condoned protests in New York City, not too into the religious thing. De Blasio even joined a Black Lives Matter march on June 4th without wearing a face mask.
What a knucklehead.
Meanwhile, they continue to suppress ordinary religious worship from all services. Thanks to the judge's ruling, religious groups have to be subject only to the same restrictions other organizations and businesses are.
3 feet away from those people in the back.
Outdoor gatherings of any kind, as long as
what an idiot.
adhere to social distancing guidelines. Get this, actually a fair ruling. Harmeet Dillon is a professional attorney. She's a civil rights lawyer. Now, Harmeet, I think you found justice in that ruling, am I right?
Absolutely, and I want to give kudos to Chris Farrar and the Thomas More Society. They're the lawyers who got that ruling today. They've been side by side.
Good, wise judge.
Well, I've sued the governors
Good.
of Virginia. Virginia, of New Jersey, of California, of Hawaii on similar issues. And unfortunately, it's been hard to get judges to see it the right way. But I guess the hypocrisy has reached the level of outrage in New York that this judge saw it correctly, and kudos to him for
Yeah, they let them get the
recognizing
liquor, the
what
lottery
many judges
tickets,
before him
the
should have
pornography, but they closed down the
We were like
church.
sheep. We never went through a pandemic before. We looked it up in our history books to find out how to
People make
handle
me
it.
angry.
We never really knew why we were able to go to a liquor store or a Target, but we couldn't go to Dick's Sporting Goods.
Exactly.
We just said, okay, I guess that's it. Businesses will suffer and the big businesses won't. But that's not going to happen this time, correct?
Well, I mean, some of us didn't say that. I went to court in the first month, and I've been doing it regularly, and so have many of my clients. And the fact that you can go to the marijuana store and the alcohol store and many other kinds of stores from day one, because those stores have good lobbyists and connections with the governor, and you could not go to church. You could not protest. That's another case that we're suing in California. And you could not do so many other activities, get married, go to a funeral. These are life and death
They're getting
activities
you
for many
ready.
Americans, and governors just trash their civil rights with no consideration other than political. And I think it has turned out to be politically expedient for many of these governors to hype up this drama over COVID, which is a serious illness, but which frankly they're not taking seriously when it comes to protests that they like. And
Exactly,
governors
they're
are going to
hypocrites.
get rebuked in the court because of that, as are attorneys general, for defending these indefensible policies.
So you feel good about this ruling?
It's a
You surprised
double
you
standard.
for Albany, against Albany.
No, I'm not surprised. The thing about federal judges is each federal judge is a life tenure judge, and it is one by one, and they make their own decisions. And so, this judge was brave. There have been many other judges, by the way, appointed by Republicans who, for one reason or the other, decided that they couldn't confront the governors. I think the governor of New Jersey is equally egregious. Certainly the governor of California is even worse. He's egged on these protests, and he has massively violated rights, and he has barred protests against
He's an errand boy sent by a grocery clerk to check on a bill.
Judge after federal judge. I think I filed 15 lawsuits, and it's been an uphill battle, but hopefully the tide is turning now. This is a great joy for the 3 Orthodox Jewish plaintiffs and the 2 Catholic priests who step forward to assert not only their own rights, but
Exactly.
all of their parishioners. Brian, people have been arrested in America
Freedom of religion.
for driving their cars into a church parking lot and parking there and listening to worship and listening
Exactly.
to prayer. That's outrageous, and it's unconstitutional. And one day, hopefully, the courts of appeals in this country will step forward and make that the rule. Chief Justice Roberts gave us a pretty bad concurring opinion on this freedom of religion. But I think where the balance is so egregious, like you had in New York, I think this decision will be upheld if it is appealed to the Second Circuit and above.
And lastly, I know this is not your specialty, but just your gut feeling and all your years of experience. What's the motivation with the double standard? What's behind it?
Oh, I think that's easy. It is that it is politically expedient for governors to shut down everything and make people dependent on the government. That's blue state governors. And where they got tripped up is that they've treated COVID like a switch they could turn on and off. They turned it off for Black Lives Matter's protests, and what they're doing is endangering lives, Brian, because citizens don't take the warnings of health officials seriously, and if they're not proportional, then they will not take them seriously. It'll be the boy who cried wolf.
Those dummies, they don't know anything.
When they need to. That's the risk that these governors
They're young and they're impressionable.
They need to back off, check themselves,
And they don't wear the
focus on
masks.
protecting people who are vulnerable, making rules that we can all follow, and stopping the interference with our First Amendment, equal protection, and other constitutional rights.
Earlier today at the press conference, the coronavirus task force had a presser after that to talk about how they're countering the rising cases in Texas and Florida. That's why this segment's so important. We know it just happened in the spring, and we got to find out what our rights are now that it's heating up again, pun intended, in the summer. Now, when it comes to a political agenda, I don't think anything was as transparent as the outrage seen on other channels, even this channel, when we saw people partying, especially in Florida during spring break. But yet we saluted, on many channels and other networks, when they were destroying things, literally destroying Fifth Avenue and destroying Rodeo Drive, ransacking Minneapolis. Not one person, not one anchor said, I'm worried about the virus on top of that. It was, wow, look at that.
Nobody talked about the
I don't
virus.
think the political agenda has ever been more transparent.
That's irresponsible.
No, you're absolutely right. They've mocked states like Florida without really drilling into the details. Their science and a mockery of the law.
They con them into thinking that the virus doesn't matter.
In a respectful and appropriate way while staying safe, Brian.
They brainwashed
It's so
them.
good to have a court case.
Wolf Blitzer, Chris Cuomo, Don Lemon, calling them all out. They belong in jail.
Big story today, as we mentioned, at the
Got
top
blood
of
in their
the show,
hands.
break down the latest coronavirus numbers, and it's not good. We turn to medical contributor Dr. Mark Siegel. Dr. Siegel, here we are. The states that we were saluting are now find themselves in trouble. States like North Carolina, states like Texas, states like Florida, they've already taken some action. Could you talk about what you gleaned from the coronavirus task force today?
Brian, we've been looking at this since February when Tucker sent me out to Nebraska, and at that time we figured out that there was a lot of community spread that no one was reporting. So the Centers for Disease Control today is saying that there's 10 times more COVID-19 out there than we ever realized is in keeping with what we thought back then.
Look at these
That's
idiots.
what that means. That means a lot of asymptomatic spread. So I think Dr. Fauci today was right to talk about pool testing. We actually look at a person who has it and everyone around them gets tested. That's the way we can track this and help to prevent spread. So that's very, very important. Now, I've been following a lot of COVID-19 cases in my practice.
3.7 million tests completed.
We've had a lot of problems, as you say, 10 states.
More tests, more people positive.
We look at Texas last night, but Governor Abbott of Texas has done something very good today. He's closing down the bars. He's limiting the restaurants to 50% of capacity. Florida closing down the bars. Maine is talking about doing the same thing. But I had a patient in Florida, Brian, who was in one of these bars. And you know what happened? He was shouting, and he wasn't wearing a mask, and he wasn't socially distancing. And somehow he spread it to someone else in the bar, who then ended up spreading it to someone who was in a higher risk group, who ended up in the hospital. Now, thank God, Brian, that patient is doing fine. The biggest problem with COVID-19 right now in these emerging hotspots is not death, because we're not seeing a rise in the death rate. That's very
It's irresponsible.
We're seeing a rise in the hospitalization rate, and that gums up the hospitals so that elective procedures can't be done.
9,000 cases in Florida on Thursday.
But they're not really. A lot of them
It's
are
insanity.
heart procedures that we need. A hernia that's causing tremendous pain.
Not social
We need to get the
distancing.
cancer out before it's spread. These are the things we worry about. So Governor Abbott of Texas was put in a position to have to do that to some of the hospitals. But I have a message to my friend patient in the bars down there in Florida. You spread this unwittingly in the hospitals. My message is, I would rather you don't share a drink. I would rather have the capacity to operate on a patient who needs it. Let's save lives, not share drinks. Brian?
And lastly, Dr. Siegel, real quick, the survival rate is getting better. I think now if you get it, it used to be a 6% death rate, now it's down to a 5%. Does that tell you perhaps the virus is getting weaker, or the people that are getting it younger?
Both of those is true. I think the virus may be getting weaker. I think we're seeing it in younger people. I think we're diagnosing it earlier, and I think we're offering treatments like never before. All is great, but we have to keep it so that our hospitals are not overwhelmed so we can also do our surgeries and procedures, Brett.
Yep.
Gotta get those numbers down.
Right now. Dr. Siegel, always great.
Wear your mask, social distance. Be careful out there.